Hi, my name is Joanna. Welcome to my channel and thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm guessing that if you clicked here, you are either really invested in having a successful postpartum time period season, or you've had postpartum depression or anxiety before and you are also wanting to prepare for a better go around. I am on my second baby. I have a 2-year-old girl and I did not prepare at all for the postpartum season. I figured I would just nail it. I just figured it would just all figure itself out. I didn't love being pregnant and I focused a lot on childbirth because my prime motive was to get that baby out of my body and then return to life as normal. I completely got owned. I had a very bad experience postpartum. I completely lost my sense of identity. I felt hopeless and isolated and I never slept and I was in it for, I would say, about 10 months, start to finish. It kind of ebbed and flowed. I don't plan on going back there again in this pregnancy. So if you're ready to crush your postpartum period or find some ways to combat postpartum depression and anxiety, just keep watching. So I've broken up this process into 2 main categories. First, I'm going to talk about all of the really practical ways that I'm preparing for this time. And then I'm going to go into like some more personal, emotional, mental, spiritual preparation. So if you stay to the end, those things I think could apply to anyone who's experiencing some depression, and the first things are more catered towards new mom logistics. Let's jump in. I'm hiring services. I'm hiring some services to help me out, and it's not going to be cheap, and it kind of hurts my soul because I'm a thrifty person, but I'll go through all those services to help me out just with basic needs. The second practical thing is prioritizing sleep. I did not do that at all last time, and I think that makes a huge difference. Third thing is not obsessing over breastfeeding. I was a total monster about it, and we'll talk about that too. And the fourth thing is seeing a naturopath. I see like a holistic doctor, just getting my hormones tested and checked out and balancing those as needed. Let's jump into number 1. I'm planning on getting a dog walker. We have 2 big chocolate labs that need to be walked or taken to the park and run around. Last time, that was basically my whole outing. Every single day was to get packed up, take the dogs to the park, do that, come back. It was like a 3-hour ordeal and I was exhausted. Can I eventually walk the dogs? Yes. Could I with 2 kids? Yes. But I want to give myself some time to not have to worry about that. So I plan on hiring someone to help me with the dogs. I'm thinking twice a week. And by the way, I'm planning on implementing these services after my husband goes back to work. He gets 2 weeks of paternity leave, and I figure when we're both home, we can sort of juggle all the household things. I'm planning on hiring these services after he goes back to work for a month or 2. I'm making myself pre-book them because I know that once I'm in the postpartum season, I'm going to feel guilty and I'm not going to want to do it. So I'm just budgeting now to make it happen. I can always cancel if I need to. The second thing that I'm doing is getting a house cleaner. I've never had a house cleaner, so drop me a line if you don't think I'm doing this right, but I think even just having someone come every other week for a deep clean is what I'm planning on for like a month or 2 again, and hoping that'll help. I think I can pick up everything else on my own, but goodness, last time house cleaning was just simple. House cleaning was just unbelievably overwhelming to me, like enough to make me want to just break down and lose it. So again, if I can just kind of take that off my plate for a little while, have a chance to have a successful transition time and then get back into those things, I think that'll help. The third thing, I'm actually not sure if I'm gonna need this, but I want to have it kind of on call, is a meal prep service. Meal prep services are not cheap. Not cheap. So right now I'm being super optimistic and I'm like, I'll be able to cook, I'll be able to meal prep and all that stuff, but if I'm feeling absolutely overwhelmed, I want to not have to do those things. So I have to say really quick that my husband's totally on board with this. This is something that we could budget for as a family. However, I am planning on paying for all of these things out of my personal money. My husband and I have separate accounts and we have joint accounts. So like I said, I'm sure this could be an hour thing, but I have a lot of pride. And I've recognized that the only way that I'm not going to feel guilty about hiring these things out is if I pay for it myself with my own money from my business. So that's something that I've decided to do. I know that's probably a personal problem, but I feel like that's going to enable me to actually make use of those services and not just feel like I'm failing as a wife or a mom. That's really easy to feel. Okay, second part in the practical steps is prioritizing sleep. I just didn't last time. I didn't sleep at all, which I think is a major contributor to mood problems. Hello. I didn't know. I didn't know how to co-sleep and nurse in the bed. I didn't feel comfortable doing that. Every time I fed my daughter, I thought I needed to be up and awake and like had snacks and was scrolling my phone. I was like, bing. I didn't really learn how to multitask that situation and kind of sleep through it till she was about 6 months old. So my plan is I just haven't learned how to do that in the bed with my husband. It freaks me out. I feel like on the empty side, she's gonna fall out. And on the middle side with both of us, one of us is gonna roll onto her and crush her. I just don't feel comfortable going to sleep with it. So my plan is to use the guest room, kind of set up like a whole pillow scenario, prop myself up, do the whole like kind of co-sleep nurse while I sleep situation. Hopefully that goes a little better. And then my other plan is to also utilize Dan for a good chunk or shift in the evening. And he was so willing to do this last time, and he offered and he tried, and I was a hoverer. I was like a psycho nut job that rather than saying, great, welcome home, can you take the baby? I'm gonna go sleep for 4 hours. You got this, I trust you, you're a competent adult. Good night. Rather than doing that, I would just like hover and be like, she needs me. You're not doing that right. Like, does anyone relate to that? I mean, I was psycho. And I did want to spend time with him and us as a 3, like a new family of 3. But I think this time I'm going to be a little cutthroat. I'm going to be like, bye. I have to go sleep. I have to get some sleep this time. I think that's going to make a huge difference, and I'm going to prioritize that. Third thing is not being obsessive over breastfeeding. Comment below if you turned into a psycho bitch about this too, because before I had my daughter, I didn't even know if I wanted to try breastfeeding. To be honest, I was kind of weirded out by it. It was never something I was dying to do, not attached to it in the least. I became ragingly obsessed with being the sole provider of food for my offspring. It was just like this crazy primal thing kicked in. I was insane about it. I also had a little bit of a lack of supply, and Zoe was a little bit jaundiced at the beginning. She wasn't gaining weight very fast, so I did have some issues. They put me on the triple feed scenario where every 2 hours you nurse and then you pump and then you bottle feed. By the time that whole process is done, you have about 20 minutes before you have to do it all over again. So talk about not sleeping. I do think that was a contributor. But I was obsessed. I was like, she will not have formula. I am enough. It just felt like a personal attack on my ability to provide for my child, which it's not. I would like to breastfeed this time, but I'm trying to be a little more open to, if we need to supplement, we'll supplement, because I'm not going to go crazy this time. So that is also something I'm planning and preparing for. The last thing in my list of practical tips is getting checked in or having calls with my natural doctor. I don't know about you guys if you've been through this before. At the regular doctor, I guess it was my pediatrician, when we'd go in for baby checks, they have you fill out the postpartum checklist. You know, are you having low feelings? And I just checked no, because I didn't want to be viewed like a failure. I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I cry all day and I hate my life and I don't feel bonded with my baby and I hate myself and I don't know who I am, but it's fine. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't have a connection with these doctors. I didn't want to be reported as like crazy. I didn't address the problem with them. And I do work with like a natural doctor, and I think I'm going to be really invested before I even give birth. So that's really important to me, that I get the physical and chemical and hormonal side of things checked out. So if you don't have someone like that already and you're pregnant, maybe find that now. And I guess I'll tie this in really quick. I went to counseling or therapy for the first time this year. Oh my gosh. I love therapy. So that's another resource that I'm going to keep on hand. I probably just keep the same lady. I don't know if she does postpartum depression, treatment. I don't know if you have to specialize, but I will have her number on file. Like people that I already trust that I would be comfortable saying, I don't feel right. So let's move on to personal ways. And by personal, I'm just saying like really deep heart stuff, like inside stuff. Now I know a little bit about what to expect, so I am prepared for the worst. I'm prepared for it to be really bad. I don't have these lofty expectations about getting a bunch of stuff done. I'm feeling pretty optimistic, like it's gonna be better this time. But my expectations are still pretty low. The other main thing that I want to say, if you're pregnant and you're preparing for this, it's to prepare now, to build yourself up now. Don't wait for your imminent mental breakdown. And if nothing happens and it's the most joyous season of your entire life and you're on this cloud 9 high, great. You've just made yourself a better person anyway. But I would really, really recommend, because I'm doing that myself and I hope it helps, build yourself up now. Strengthen yourself now. I'm thinking about preparing for battle. I'm preparing to go into a situation that's really hard, and I don't want to just go in and like keep my fingers crossed. I want to train for it. Like if I think about warfare, I'm thinking about like old school warfare. Like I need the right weapons. I need to sharpen my sword. I need to strengthen my body and prepare for, I need to practice my fighting moves so that I don't just walk in and be like, crap. I want to be ready. I want to train for battle. So how do you do that kind of training? Well, for me, I'm thinking mostly faith-based. I'm a Christian, so this might not apply to you in every single way, but I think you're still going to be able to take what I'm practicing here for your life and how it fits. I want to find things that build me up, that I can write down, that I can say over myself when I don't believe them, because back then, in that bad season, I felt worthless and alone, and I didn't want to even like seek God or press into. I didn't want to read the Bible or do anything. That felt like more work. I wasn't even strong enough to try to do that. I couldn't even do that. So I'm making a list and writing down, like as they come up, anything that empowers me and strengthens me, whether that's words or things that I believe that God has said about me. Write them down, because I'm actually big into affirmations. I really like looking in the mirror and being like, you can do this. You badass bitch. Like, you got this. I mean, it's definitely not a Bible verse, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm a person that doesn't believe any of that unless I say it out loud. I think there's so much power in saying that when you don't believe it. Saying, I can do this. I am strong. I can fight this time. This is just a season. This is all going to be worth it. Temporary sacrifice for long-term gain. You are of sound mind. God is bigger than depression. He is over depression. It just saying it when you don't believe it. So I'm writing a lot of those things down. But I'm also finding things that move me, because I know that I need to find those things within myself. So this might be different for you. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing, and you'll know right away like what speaks to you. I know that I connect with God and I feel that experience through movement. I'm a dancer. I'm an aerialist. I've always felt like just locked in when I am moving, or if there's beautiful music on, like that's where I come alive. So I'm making a Spotify playlist that's really simple, but of worship songs or beautiful songs that help me feel strong and connected and like myself. So I'm making a playlist. I'm even collecting, this is super specific, but choreography, movement sequences that feel good, because I felt so foreign in my body. I felt like my body was wrecked and ruined and had just been run over with a truck. So it was my mind and my body that were just flat out off. So finding things that I feel like speak to me, and I could put on a song and do a movement pattern and be like, I know who I am. And that brings me back, and that brings me joy, and that wakes up my spirit and makes me alive. And then I can go into the mirror and say, you are strong and you can do this, and get up and get some sleep or whatever I need to do. I'm kind of getting like aggressive about it. So that's where I'm really diving in and doing like some work to prepare. I want to have like a journal full of things where I'm like, even if you feel like you can't, past me and future me says, I believe in you and you will be your best self, and do it for your daughters and do it for you. And I don't know, I'm getting carried away. Oh my gosh, I think that's it. I'm sweating. Can you tell that I'm not wearing a bra, by the way? Don't you love dresses that have like this whole top flap? Love that. This is Pink Blush Maternity. They're all over the internet. Oh my gosh, I'm beginning a work and I feel really passionate about it because I never want to be in that place that I was last time again. I never want to be there. And if you've experienced that, whether it was postpartum or just depression and anxiety in general, I'm really sorry, because it's really hard, and I do think there's always an opportunity to be better and be stronger and rise up and fight it, and there's tools and ways to do that. So thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you for an update video back on schedule next Friday. Have an amazing day.